Yo, my people, welcome back to the channel. Hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, do all of that stuff early. The love has been mad throughout the summer. I'm not going to get back into that again, but I'm always going to show love. The community is supporting as they should, and I'm trying to deliver as I should. That's how the YouTube world goes round. So if you're enjoying, hit up the like, make sure you're subscribed as well. And if you're not enjoying, if you're here to hate in the comments, hit the like button too. I don't think there's a dislike button anymore. And make sure you're subscribed. Don't miss out on any more moaning or negativity throughout the season. Um, but yeah, we're here. I'm smiling because I'm excited. I'm excited because, it's a big season for us. We've got a new number 9. We kick off against Man United. It's an old rivalry. It's a new season. It's a classic rivalry. Not what it once was. But I always look at that Man United fixture every single season when the fixture list comes out, both home and away, and they're eagerly anticipated. If you live in London, you'll know why. It's like a London derby when it comes to United games against Arsenal, the amount of fans United got in London. But they're a big side. They got fans everywhere, as they like to remind us. Hated, adored. Is that how it goes? Never ignored? Whatever they say. Whatever they say over there. But it's a new season. Yes, they finished 15th or 17th or 16th. I can't remember who's who out of them and Tottenham. But they, left it tail between their legs in a Europa League final loss to Tottenham. One of the rare occasions I wanted United to win. But we moved on from there. Tottenham lost the Super Cup in Tottenham fashion, and United have bought a brand new attack. A brand new attack. Cunha and Bomo and Sheshko all together. I look at that and think impressive. From the position they were in, sacking dinner ladies to spending near enough 300 million. I mean, the turnaround is something special. I mean, I'd like to read that book and know, how they went from one to the other, from A to B, in a sense. But it's a new side we're coming up against, rejuvenated. You'd think so. Man United fans would hope so. Can it get any worse than last season? You'd think not. Ask Tottenham. League wise, anyway, they ended with a trophy, didn't they? But yeah, United. Before we continue, yo, my people, quick one. This video it is sponsored. BetMate. If you don't know, get to know. BetMate is fantasy football without the season-long stress. It's one game at a time. You're up against real people, not the bookies, and there's always a winner. What have you got to do? Just pick your team, climb that leaderboard, and if you finish top, then you're taking home real money. You see this game this weekend, game week 1, United, Old Trafford, big one, big 6 fixture. I've set up my own private pot so you can join, free to enter, and test yourselves against me. There's £100 prize pool. You have to pick 7 players per team, but max 6 coming from any which team. I know you're going to go heavy Arsenal people, but yeah, you have to have one United player in there. And a reminder, it's free to enter. So why not? There's a QR code on the screen. Scan it. If you can't do that, there's a link in the description. I've also pinned one in the comment section. Click that link. And when you open the app, when you open the website, make sure you go into the search bar and type in TurkishLDN-01, and that'll enter you into my private pot. Like I said, it's free to enter. You're up against real people, including me. Let's go. If you're new and you're here fresh, right before that Liverpool Bournemouth game, you can also enter another free pot, £500 community pot. So if you enter quick enough, people, this video has come out slightly late, then obviously you have a chance to enter that one too. But listen, hold tight. If you don't get that chance, if you're watching it after, there's always another free pot coming up. Makes sense. Scan the QR code, click the links, do whichever you want to do, and show BetMate some love. I'll be there. So if you think you can finish above me, do what you need to do. We're back, people. If you want to get involved, QR code is still there. Links are still in the description and the pinned comment. But we're here to talk United. We're here to talk lineups. We're here to talk predictions. I want to know your thoughts too. What do you want to see? Who do you want to see fullback wise? Who do you want to see on the left? Who do you think Arteta's going to go with up top? Because you all know who I want to see, and I'm pretty sure I know who you want to see. But sometimes what you want to see, what we want to see, isn't the reality. But let's talk, because I think fullbacks is where to start first and foremost. It's an interesting one because all summer and all last season, that was Lewis Skelly's position. Well deserved. And to this day, I don't think he's done anything, to lose that position, in my opinion. But I just look at the way I want us to play, what Zubimendi now brings to the side, and if Rice is going to be as close to Zubimendi as he was against Bilbao, and that's a sign of things to come moving forward. Do we have space for a Lewis Skelly type of fullback who loves to float in and around similar places the double pivot, the 8 and 6s would roam around. I'm not too sure. Hence why the questions have come up. Not only that, you look at Man United's attack, and in my opinion, the star man of that attack, or the key man, let me call him, is Brian Mbomo. I know Cunha's quality too, and I know Sheshko has a lot of potential or a lot of hype. We will find out one way or another now. But for me, Mbomo's the one that I fear most in that attack. I think, he gets the ball in space, then he can really make things happen. Cunha too, but Mbomo coming off the back of a 20-goal season and a well-deserved move. I mean, can you say deserved when it comes to Man United? I guess financially, yes. Productively, we'll find out. So who is best equipped to deal with an Mbomo? I look at Timber, but who is best equipped to help us transform the way we transition? Swifter, cleaner, smoother. And I'd say Calafiori. But who deserves the position? Lewis Skelly. And that's where the conundrum is. Because I think an argument can be made for any of those three players. Honestly, if we're going for the most solid back four, all in, I think Timber starts left back, Ben White starts right back, and the centre backs, you know what it is already. I think on paper, physically, mentally, both in one-on-one situations or balls into the box, I think that is the most equipped we can, you know, get our back four in terms of strengths, attributes, and total belief. But I want us to transition a bit quicker. But I think United will give us opportunities to pick them off. It's first game of the season. Talking to Said on the Big Six, he doesn't believe so. He thinks low to mid block, and he thinks they're going to try stifle. But in my opinion, Amarim's not about that. He likes a mid to high press. And surely after a summer where you refresh the attack completely, spending 200 M's on it, surely game week 1 at home, Old Trafford is a chance to test it out at the highest level. It's not pre-season no more. United have had a good pre-season. I don't think they've lost a game since that parade they done in Hong Kong or somewhere over in Asia. I forgot. They lost to ASEAN All Stars or something, but that was more post-season than pre-season. Don't know what that was, to be honest with you. Maybe that's how they got from sacking dinner ladies to buying a 200 million new strike force. I don't know. Maybe we got to do the same. Um, but yeah, they've had a good preseason on paper. Wins, draws, no losses, and in the transfer window, it looks impressive for a team that's coming from 15th place, from a team that's coming from a hiatus at the highest level in recent years, to say the least, if not from the Fergie years, which is over a decade ago. I'm one to talk. It's been 2 decades. I know this. Trust me. No one knows it better. I look around me every single day. Look behind me here. I'm reminded of how long it's been. Trust me. But I try to keep it fair. So yeah, that's the conundrum. Who I land on? Who I land on? Pause. Who I land on is probably, and this position, I won't mind either of the three players starting it because I'd get the reasoning behind every single one. But in my opinion, we go with a Timber. Just because the threat of Mbomo for me, Timber's our best one-on-one defender. We forget sometimes how good he was at left back for us, the opportunities he had there earlier on last season, and how equipped he is to play both positions, because as soon as Ben White went out for the season, or pretty much the season, Timber locked down that right hand side off the back of an ACL, very impressively. But he can do the left sided position just as good, in my opinion. Maybe a bit more disorientated in the way we attack, which is probably detrimental to my hopes and beliefs that we're going to change it up a little bit in transition. Hence why I'd understand Calafiori starting. I'd probably go with Timber. And maybe I got a bit of bias on Ben White as well, because I just feel like, Ben White's a top player, you know, physically, mentally, more importantly. So yeah, that'd probably be my back four. Like I said, centre backs go without saying, and goalkeeper is definitely not Kepa. But Raya does have to start the season well. I think he was a bit shaky across pre-season. So yeah, that's the back line done. back four and goalkeeper. Midfield, I think, pretty much picks itself, unless Mikel's going to listen to Tony and maybe make a change in that attacking 10 position with Odegaard. And I know Tony didn't mention, dropping him. And there's been a lot of hype for nothing. Players are allowed opinions, whether that's opinions I agree with, like I have done with Henri's opinions over the years. Some of what Adam said the other day, some of what Petit said over the years, I've equally disagreed with some things Ian Wright said over the years, or Perez has said. I remember Perez said something about Doku's better than Saka, or he'd prefer Doku to Saka, whichever way he said it. I mean, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what was going on that day, but yeah, legends are allowed opinions. Legends are legends because they've paved the way, and what a lot of these young fans in particular, or young slash some international fans in particular don't understand is part of the reason that Arsenal are so global, and maybe the reason I say I'm talking people who have decided to take it the wrong way, the reason you support Arsenal Football Club, a Tony Adams, a Thierry Henry, an Emmanuel Petit, a Ray Parlour, a Lee Dixon. So many different players make up what Arsenal, have become. That respect has always got to be shown. You can agree to disagree. You can ignore. You can think, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like what I thought with Perez. Doesn't take anything away from the player or his status or his ability to give an opinion on an establishment, a company, a football club that he helped along the way. It's actually refreshing to hear honest opinions. I think we need more of it in 2025. But I've digressed a little bit, people. I've digressed a little bit. Where was we? Back to midfield. Zubimendi, Rice. In my opinion, I'm going to call it a double pivot more than I'm going to call it a 4-3-3. I'm going to say a 4-2-3-1, probably because that's more what I want to see. Some might argue, but Turkish, you want to open up a bit more. Does that help? I think it does, because as much as I say 4-2-3-1, I still think 4-3-3 is a click of the fingers away. It just depends on which one of you want to make that, forward run, and which one of you, I mean, Zubimendi or Rice. So call it a 3-4-3-3, call it a 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it. Zubi, Rice, stay close, work well, build that relationship. I know the season starts in tough fashion, but you know, there's a saying about jumping in the deep end and learning how to swim or some shit. Yeah, let's take that saying if there is one, or let's make it. You know what I mean? United away, a great stadium and a great fixture to kick off. Hopefully, a fruitful centre midfield partnership. They've got all the strengths and attributes on paper to combine for something amazing. Let's just fingers crossed. First and foremost, they stay available, and then obviously they gel, work well together, and all of this is history. We move into a new era. Odegaard in front against Bilbao, I like that because Rice was a bit closer to Zubimendi. We saw Odegaard floating a bit more centrally. Far too often over the last 18, 24 months, even in his great 22-23 season, he was too right-hand side orientated, because, we play with a high eight a lot of that time as well, and Rice was occupying the other area opposite to Odegaard. But I just feel like because Rice's technical level on the ball isn't that of a 10 or a creative midfielder, sometimes we lack and have lacked on that side. Hence why Martinelli has regressed over the years too. It's not all on him, as I've said many times. So, Rice and Zubi being a bit closer, being a bit more spontaneous with who goes forward, allows Odegaard to flex a little more centrally in and around the box, which should open up, a few options, especially with a Gyökeres up top who, peels off and makes those runs constantly, or a Martinelli who, in his best season for us, the standout season for us, had a proficient passer of the ball towards the left-hand side of that midfield, the Xhaka at the time, and a striker that liked floating out to the left, like Gyökeres does, but in different fashion. Gyökeres is more of a bulldozer type, and Jesus is more of a swan type. But they both, like to occupy similar areas of the pitch, albeit from a striker role. So, I like that. I'll keep that midfield free. Nwaneri should be knocking on the door. And if Odegaard has a stinker for 60, 70 minutes, then well, I say 70, I think that's even too long. 55, 60 minutes, then, we've got someone to come in my opinion now, something that we didn't have last season or we failed to use adequately. Some, like myself, would argue. So Ranieri's there knocking on that door, new contract, new lease of life, and hopefully, um, more building on what he's shown for us over the last couple of years, whether it's a debut performance or a consistent run in the team, producing consistent good performances and goals, which he did last year. Um, I already mentioned Gyökeres. For me, that goes without saying. You don't buy a new star striker, even though he cost less than Havertz. I think less, or in and around the same price. Um, Surely Gyökeres starts this game. Havertz scored a wonderful goal against Bilbao. And if Havertz can do that off the bench for us throughout this season, and not only off the bench, but sometimes starting too, I'm not completely banishing him to bench minutes. There'll be games where you could start at Havertz and rotate Gyökeres out a bit and still go and win. And we've seen that over the years with Havertz playing for us. So that goal, wonderful goal, but Gyökeres needs to start this game, because if Gyökeres starts this game with a bang, a win, Old Trafford, a couple goals, even a goal, that's a start you want your new star striker to be getting, especially when you consider the lack of strengthening in and around the position, without the left winger coming in, without the central Eze type of profile coming in. I know Madueke is in, people. We'll talk about him in a sec. Gyökeres got a start, and in my opinion, Gyökeres scores. He scores, people. Being positive. Imagine that. But yeah, Gyökeres up top, Saka on the right. I mean, did that need to be said? Um, he's grown into preseason. I think he was good, and then he just got better and better. Villarreal, okay, but Bilbao, he was a menace throughout the game. And I think it's a big season for him. Let's not forget, at the point of injury last season, he had about 10 assists in the first 15 or so games. I know Salah came close to the 2020 Henry record, but Saka with 10 assists in the first 15-ish games, 16-ish games, he was on course to also at least match up De Bruyne and Henry's assist record, if not beat it. And Saka, one thing we can say about him is every season he's improved. Last season, the blip was the injury, but every season he's improved. And I think this is a big season for him. He's a man now. I think that the star boy title doesn't suit him anymore, because he is a man. Um, he's done dirt for this club now. He's helped us through the mud, and he's also stepped up anytime we've needed him to step up. Listen, there's been hiccups there. There's hiccups with great players all the time. But I expect a big season for Saka. And if all things go well and Arsenal go and win this league, right, I think Saka will be player of the season. Maybe that's not outrageous to say, but I think if Arsenal go on and win this league, I think Saka will maybe saying the key behind it is a bit disrespectful to the others, but you know what I mean. There's only one player of the season, and in my opinion, for us to do, I won't call it the unthinkable. It was the unthinkable not too long ago, but to finally get over the line, I think Saka has. Can't even call it a breakthrough outbreak season, because he's been on this course for a little while now. So Saka there, left hand side. I've said before, if this was Leeds at Emirates, if this was Brentford away, if this was Bournemouth, wherever, I'd be saying start Madueke, because Martinelli's just let me down since 22-23 season, slowly but surely. This summer hasn't looked great in preseason, albeit it is preseason. But come on, you'd hope to see a bit more, even if it's a bit more ambition on that left hand side. But we failed to see that, and the 45 minutes from Madueke off the bench against Bilbao, it wasn't amazing, but I'll call it refreshing. It was something different. But it's not Leeds, it's not Brentford, it's not Bournemouth, it's Man United. And one thing about Martinelli is he works hard, he puts a shift in, and in the big games, he does come up with opportunities, and sometimes he takes those opportunities. He scored a fair few goals in big games, and sometimes, yeah, it just doesn't quite work out, like the PSG game, for example. But for that reason alone, I'd be starting Martinelli. and hoping that he can kickstart his season with a goal, or at least a contribution, at the very least. But yeah, that's my team, people. Raya, Timber and White, fullbacks, Gabriel Saliba, Zubomendi, Rice, Odegaard, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever you want to call it. And up top, we have Gyökeres, Saka, Martinelli either side. I look at Man United. I know Martinez and Mazraoui are ruled out. That was announced about an hour ago from Amarim, but the expectation was Yoro, Maguire, and Dillit anyway. Dorgu left wing back, Diallo right wing back, and that's where I feel like we've got opportunities. Their wing backs like to play high. Diallo's not a wing back, and Dorgu, we've seen enough from him already to know he's more primed in the attacking sense than the defensive sense. So I feel like if Man United do try and take the game to us, if we can transition the ball as quick as we should try and transition the ball this season, I think we can pick them off and have a comfy game and have an exciting game, a game where a few men fill their boots. If United do a low block, then throw what I just said out the window, because then it's very different. That three at the back becomes more of a five at the back, and it's a very different ball game then. But it's difficult to know what United are going to go with in terms of approach. Midfield wise, you'd expect Casemiro and Fernandez to start. Yeah, Casemiro, Fernandez. If not, it'd be Fernandez and Ugarte. I don't think Mainu's favoured by Amarim. So you're just going to have one cleaner, whether it's Ugarte or Casemiro, and you're going to have Fernandez, who's a constant threat, always a threat. We saw that in the last game, 1-1 Old Trafford in the last season. But their midfield is a problem. Their midfield is light. So if they do go low to mid, then I expect that to be condensed, packed out, and that's where they try and get the better of us. But if they do try and take the game to us a bit more, then not only in the fullback position, but I think the midfield as well, with Fernandez high up the pitch. Yeah, Zubimendi, Rice. Let's get this clicking like we did against Bilbao. And the attack is the attack. Mbomo, Cunha, inside tens. Sheshko to start, in my opinion. Hopefully, I say hopefully. Xerxes, apparently he's available too, and maybe that's the safer bet to go with. But he's just coming back off something as well, so that's still a conundrum for them to figure out. Listen, all in all, I think Arsenal should be winning the game, regardless of what team United pick and put out, regardless of injuries or no injuries. I feel like we've been the better team for years. We've got the manager that's been comfier in his position for years, in this league for years. We've spent quite a bit in the window. Some agree, some disagree with the players and personnel coming in, but we should be in a position to be beating United game week 1, even with a not so great record over there. I think it'd be a great way to take our minds off maybe the lack of transfer activity remaining in these last few weeks. Whether that's a gift or a curse, we will find out. That 8-2, for example, from United, it didn't really turn out to be much of a gift come the end of it, because the players we brought in off the back of it was very scattergun approach. Arteta actually being one of them, I think, if my memory serves me correctly, which often it does. But yeah, I've been talking for a little while now, people. Man United, game week 1. I'm predicting Arsenal 3, United 1. Gyökeres to score 2. Break is ducked in the first 10 minutes. 7 minutes in, he gets on the end of side and smashes it into the back of the net. I go mad on the mob. Liban's there quiet, and then the rest will well and truly be history. That's the dream, people. We'll find out if it's the reality come Monday. We'll talk again. I say Monday, Sunday, match reactions back again. Proton VPN back again. But we'll get into that when it's time to get into that. Remember, people, bet mate, if you want to join my private pot, £100 up for grab, this free entry, playing against me, real people, not the bookies. Then scan the QR code, click the link in the description or the pinned comment. Love for the love, people. I'll see you again soon. Peace.